Hey, Destin and Miramar Beach vacation property owners. This is Austin. I am the outreach and marketing coordinator at Grand Welcome of Destin and Miramar Beach. And today we're going to be talking about how to achieve Airbnb Superhost status, why you want it, how you get it, how you maintain it. And yeah, I hope that if you are a partner with us, if we're carrying your property, you understand how we're going to accomplish this for you after watching this video. And I hope if you are not a partner with us, that you're convinced you need to be a partner with us by the end of it. But even if not, and you're like, I'm just watching this, learn how to do it myself, I hope that you get some insight from this video, and within the next handful of months, you have that Airbnb Superhost status. So let's get into it, y'all. All right. So let's get into why you want that Superhost status. Now, the main thing is it's going to help you churn more revenue, right? So if your property has an Airbnb Superhost status on it, it's going to get more visibility on the Airbnb platform. When guests are looking for a place to stay and they see that your property is a Superhost, they're going to trust it more. They're going to go, oh, other people have had great experiences here, so they have a good standing with Airbnb. I can trust them. Believe me, when somebody's looking for somewhere to lay their head at night, if they know it's got a good standing and they can trust it, they're way more likely going to be wanting to stay there. If your unit is priced higher than others in the area, people know they're going to be paying for quality. So it's full circle. When you have the Superhost status, it's going to help you churn more revenue because guests are going to be able to trust you more. You're going to have more rapport on the Airbnb platform. And it also gives you more visibility, so guests are going to see you more. So it's just full circle. Airbnb Superhost is it is a must for maximizing the revenue from your short-term rental property. And Grand Welcome is huge on achieving that. So that's going to be one of the first things that we try and do for your property, is establish that Airbnb Superhost status. Now, aside from the Airbnb Superhost badge you get that gives you the increased visibility and helps you churn more revenue, you get priority support. So if there's a queue, let's say it's heat of the season, everybody's in town, occupancy rates are high. Occupancy rates are high around the country where everybody's vacationing, and people are calling Airbnb off the hook, and their support line is booked, and they've got dozens or maybe even hundreds of callers in the queue. If a Superhost calls in, their call is going to get picked up in priority before all the regular hosts. Airbnb knows that its Superhosts are going to keep the platform going, whereas the other hosts might fizzle out. They might try it for a few months and quit. So Superhost calls get picked up before anybody else's. So you really want that. You want that if it's heat of the season and there's issues and you need to call Airbnb because of a payment issue or something along those lines, you want that priority. Now, you also get exclusive benefits in the sense of trainings and webinars, resources that only Superhosts have access to. So, we've attended webinars that are only for Superhosts, and they always have great insights. Airbnb is letting us know about, data they have about upcoming seasons and travel trends and reports and what to expect. And they're really big on keeping a good status with their Superhosts. So once you have that status, Airbnb is big on helping you maintain it. Now, aside from the access to the webinars and the priority support and the badge that gives you more visibility and helps you churn more revenue, you get access to new features. So Airbnb, whenever they drop a new feature, you're going to have access to it as a Superhost property before the regular properties do. So you get to try out the new innovative cutting edge stuff before the other properties on the platform. So great benefits. Some of the features they deploy are, really leaps and bounds above what is on the platform for the typical user. So another good reason to try and get that Superhost status. Now, last but not least, if you are a Superhost, you get a 20% bonus on your host referral system. So, the host referral system bonus is $15. So if you bring a host onto Airbnb and they book their first guest, you get $15 when they book their first guest as the host that you brought on the platform. But if you're a super host, you get 20% bonus. So instead of $15, you get $18, and that really does add up. So as you're going to these investment property networking events and you're onboarding your friends to get into Airbnb, let's say you just onboard one host a month. That's almost $200. It's over $200 if you're a super host, and it's right under $200 if you're a regular host, and that referral host bonus system they have. So all in all, there's a lot of benefits to being a super host, and we can talk all day about the benefits of being a super host, but now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how do you become a super host. So Airbnb does 4 assessments a year. That's one every season, about every 3 months, and they're really only looking at a few basic metrics. There's a handful of them, but it really just boils down to your response rate. So how well you respond to people. And that's going to be, you got to have a 90% or higher. And this is whether you want Airbnb Superhost status or you just want to maximize the revenue with your property, you're going to want to have that high response rate. And that's one of the things that Grand Welcome is huge on. It goes hand in hand. A high response rate is going to equate to guest satisfaction. It's going to create repeat guests. Superhost status aside, you should have a near 100% response rate. If you want the Superhost status, you got to have 90%, and it's really not that hard. I know there's tire kickers. We know there's people out there that they seem like a waste of time. Why is this dude asking me 100 questions? If he's going to rent it, just rent it. But answer the questions. Talk to these people. Keep that response rate high, even if they haven't booked the unit, even if they're just a potential guest, and especially if they are a guest that is booked and they're at your unit, you want to communicate with them. I can't emphasize how important this is, because there's the response rate, right? And then the next one is your review status. So you want to have an average of a 4.8 review status to really get that Superhost status, right? If you don't have an average of a 4.8 review, you're not going to get Superhost status. And this goes back into the response rate. If you don't have rapport, if you're not communicating with the guests, for instance, the response rate is a lot easier of a metric to handle than the review rating, because there's no excuse for not responding. Anybody, you can write a message. Us at Grand Welcome, we're always going to maintain that response rate. It's always going to be above 90. It's pretty much going to be 100% with us. You as the property owner, there's no excuse for not having 90%. So if you're doing this on your own, if you're not a partner with Grand Welcome, you got to have that high response rate. And it's going to help with your review rating, because guests are they're gonna be like, oh, well, there was seaweed on the beach and I had a great time, but I wasn't happy about the seaweed, so 4 stars. Or it rained the whole time and they didn't get to see, the bright sunny beach like they were expecting. Whereas if you maintain communication with the guest and you show them that you're a human being and they're not just dealing with a property, you're way more likely for them to empathize with you and know that you can't control the weather and you can't control the seaweed on the beach, and you're going to get that 4.8 review or higher. And if you get a 4.9 review average and you meet some of the other metrics, you get what's called guest favorites of Airbnb, which gives you even more visibility. And Superhost status is hard enough to achieve as is, so start with Superhost status. Once you got Superhost status, then try to get an Airbnb guest favorite. But if you got 4.8 or higher, you can get Superhost, and if you get 4.9 or higher, you can get the guest favorite status of Airbnb for your property. But so we've gone over your response rate, and we've gone over your rating, your 4.8 or higher rating rate. So let's go over some of the odder ones. So there's really only two other metrics you have to meet for Superhost status on the quarterly assessments. You got to have guests stay at your unit at least 100 nights. So this one's going to be a bit hard for you new property owners. When we onboard a property, we try and make that happen within the first handful of months, get you those first 100 nights of stays. But realistically, if you want to get those 100 nights, it's not going to happen in like the first 2 or 3 months. It's really going to be 3 months and some change to get those. So there's that. And then the last metric for your Airbnb Superhost status is going to be the cancellation rate of your unit. So how many times you as the host is canceling on your guests. Now there is the extenuating circumstances policy that Airbnb has, and that's, extreme weather events, acts of war, certain things. Airbnb will not count these against your cancellation rating, but you're really going to want to have you're going to want to do everything you can to not cancel on your guests. And on the flip side, guests canceling on you can affect this as well. So we're going to recommend, out of all the cancellation policy options you can choose, because Airbnb is flexible about that. They have a wide range of cancellation policy options you can have for your unit. We're going to recommend you, regardless of what you choose, we think you should choose the strictest one. So they have to cancel pretty much within like 48 hours. I think it is called the strict policy, and I think it only gives them 48 hours after purchasing the stay. They have to cancel. And then the most lenient one, they can cancel up to 24 hours before check-in, and then there's a wide range of policies you can choose between. But regardless of if you choose one of the strict ones or the easy ones, make sure that you choose the non-refundable option, because if they know they can't get a refund, they're going to do everything they can as a guest to make it to the vacation, make it to the unit, and not cancel on you. So those tidbits are really going to help you achieve those metrics of that 90% response rate or higher, the less than 1% cancellations, the 4.8 star rating or higher, and then remember, you got to have at least 100 nights stay at your unit. And if you can accomplish all those by yourself, power to you. You'll get that Airbnb Superhost status. And if you're unsure about being able to accomplish all that by yourself, partner with Grand Welcome. You'll get a team of savvy property managers who are going to make sure you get that Superhost status within the first handful of months. And, I really think the biggest thing here is just communication. Communicate with your guests. That's how we do it. Make sure you talk to them when they get there, onboard them, ask them what they want out of their stay. Ask them, like, best case scenario, what's going to happen on your vacation, and worst case scenario, what's going to happen on your vacation. And all right, we know, what you want and what you don't want, and us as the property owner, or in our case, property manager, we're going to do everything we can to make sure you get that everything you want and avoid that everything that you don't want. So that's how we do it. I really hope that you can get that Airbnb Superhost status without us, but you really should partner with us because we'll get that for you. We're good at it. Now, aside from all that, y'all, we'll make another video on how to become a guest favorite. That one's a little bit harder. There's a little bit more that goes into that, but that gives you even more visibility than the Superhost. Most guest favorites are Superhosts. You can get a guest favorite status without being a Superhost, because the metrics are a little bit different. But ideally, you want both of those to get the most out of your Airbnb. So thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of today's video, and good luck with the 2024 season. Let's make some Superhosts out of y'all. Bye.